marked in my. In a backyard,
Hmm.
and it wasn't there. And I said something like there twice. Today he measured it, fortunately.
We're ready to go. I think it's 6 o'clock. We're gonna go ahead and get started. We'll call this regular city council May 1st meeting to order. Happy May Day, everybody.
Yeah.
Call the roll, please.
Kirkland, Mahler,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes,
Thank you. Need a motion to approve tonight's meeting agenda?
So moved.
second,
Any discussion about the agenda? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein,
yes,
Mahler,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to the consent agenda. First item on the consent agenda is minutes of the April 14th, 2023 work session, April 17th, 2023 regular city council meeting, and April 26th, 2023 special meeting. Payments for contracts. Payments for contract services, we have none tonight. Claims, registers, and financials, $434,691.80. License and permits, we also have none tonight, so it's kind of a short consent agenda. Need a motion to approve the items we just went over under the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion about those items? If not, call the roll, please.
Walling,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein,
yes,
City administrators report.
Well, I didn't have a whole lot to talk about until this afternoon. So I handed out a few things. There was a barrage of emails this afternoon regarding, state property tax reform. Joint release between the House, Senate, Governor's Office, saying that they reached an agreement. And then League of Cities came out with this email, which kind of summarizes things. That I was quite hopeful at first when that press release said that it was House File 718. Because that was the one of two proposals that was more clear. I think more understandable to the public. Because this one is just confusing. So what they did was basically struck all of the language from House File 718 and replaced it with Senate File 569. Of course, this came at 5:11, so I didn't get through all of it. I don't believe that the proposal affects tax abatement. So that was kind of one of the things we were watching. But it does put into effect this consolidated levy and the levy limitations based on assessment growth. So one of the tools that the League of Cities put together on their website was kind of what a scenario, which you don't have a crystal ball of what will happen in the next 5 years. So they did a look back to see if this was passed in 2017, what effect would it have on our community today. So it's like I said, this has kind of been out and been kicked around in several different versions for a while. For a month or two, but I still can't quite clearly describe it, but basically. So they want to take the general fund levy, which is E10. And I handed something out a while back as well, that explained a lot of this. It would combine the general fund of 810 and then two other levies that we have into this consolidated general fund levy of $8.50. So you can have that $8.50 levy as long as you're not growing too fast, which you can see here. A couple of years we had very low well, very low, 1.64%. So we put it in to keep that higher levy. Then you see we jump up for a year. And our levy goes down, pushing rate to even out that levy. Then we go back to slow growth for a couple of years and keep that 824 levy. And then we had another good year of $4 for a 4.14% increase. And they roll back our levy beyond the 810 to $7.98. Which kind of doing a compare and contrast from 17 to this current FY 23, we would be collecting $91,654 less than if we had kept the regular levy. I don't know how any personal feelings, or I'll say my professional opinion is that they put something together that looks really great, that says they get to lower property taxes, but they are targeting something that has the least amount of effect on true property taxes, but will have the most amount of effect on how we are able to serve the public. This is the percentage, this is less than 1% of our consolidated levy that this is affecting, but it will have the most effect on our general fund to operate most of our departments. So that I think is pretty disingenuous. I feel there's other areas that could have been targeted to make more of a true impact to property taxes. And I think we can all agree that we'd love to see lower property taxes. But we need to make sure that that's done in a responsible way that doesn't negatively impact the communities that we're trying to build. So there's that. From what I understand, they've just reached an agreement. I don't know that it's been voted on yet. I didn't tell you that. But that's what we're looking at. So that's what we'll be dealing with for the foreseeable future on how we come about our annual budget and our levy rate. This also does have a small impact on tax and financing, because another portion of it affects that school levy rate.
How about now? Good? Okay. So we'll see how that comes out. It also, we can only do bond referendums on the, what is it, the Tuesday following the first Monday. So regular November elections is the only time that we would be able to do a bond referendum. So cuts down the ability for us to do a special election for a referendum for a public improvement project. So just, I think under the veil of reducing cost for a special election, but also just making sure that more people show up to a state or national federal election to vote on local bond referendums. And I don't know if I handed this out before, but this is a compare and contrast of costs in 22 2003 versus 2023. Did I hand this out before? No? Okay. So one of the, common, arguments against local property taxes is that in the last 20 years, the amount of property taxes collected has doubled in the state of Iowa. So with Susie's help, we put together this comparison of just what prices and things have done in that 20 years. So you can see kind of starting with some of these budget items, our levy rate per thousand has gone up 6%. Our actual levy, 810 levy revenue has gone up 51% just from our growth. On the expenses side, single and family health insurance has gone up 210% and 182% respectively. Property and casualty insurance has gone up 186%. Just kind of a couple of our larger buildings. Library utilities has gone up 76%. Rec center utilities have gone up 51%. We did put an asterisk with that because that both of those buildings have had substantial energy efficiency upgrades from boilers, chiller at the rec center, all LED lighting, things like that. So you can imagine what it would be if we still had the 1980s and 90s equipment running those buildings. Next, we did kind of a comparison of construction costs and what those have done in 20 years. So the 2004 downtown project, which was Railroad Street and this section of Second Street, taking the actual bid from 2004 and putting that into 2023 numbers, was 141% increase. Taking the project that we're going to be doing and backing that down to 2004 numbers would represent 157% increase. The really fun stuff, the equipment, notice street sweeper in under like 15-ish years went up 98%. Police cruisers from what we bought in 2002 to what we're buying and have budgeted is up 202%. Just the F-150s that Public Works uses are up 216%. Tandem axle dump truck. This was just a quote that I had Josh get from 2004 when we bought the one we currently have to, hey, if we wanted the exact same truck, what would we need to budget? $200,000. That's a 337% increase for that piece of equipment. Snow plow is up 315%. The ladder truck that's in the fire department right now in 2002 from what Assistant Chief Hicks got a quote for would be 174% increase. And then the pumper truck, actually that's I think on the agenda tonight. We bought a pumper truck in 2014, brand new. So in 9 years, it's gone up 52% from what we ordered in October, November. So this was just to kind of show an example of, these are all things that are outside of our control that are real issues that we still have to deal with despite what goes on at the state capitol. So definitely talking points. Hopefully we can continue to have conversations with our legislators and come up with solutions to truly affect some of the change that everybody wants with property taxes without sacrificing services, but also truly making an impact on pocketbooks. So That's my happy news.
I mean, you just went over that, which is a very good graphic presentation. All we have to do is stop and look at our own household expenses. If you want a new car, if you want to pay your utility bill, if you want to get groceries, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, how much things, our property insurance for home, how much it's all gone up. So, I mean, all of us live with it every day, so we should be able to understand and the effect it has on the city too. Again, it's out of our control at home, just as it is outside our control of the city.
Mhm.
Tough times. Anything else, Sven?
It's all the good news I have for today.
Any questions for Sven? After his good news,
Are they back to work outside down to the water?
At wastewater?
Basement.
Yeah, I think they've been doing some outside work. Josh might know more than I do, or Jacob.
Doing stuff around the laws, bringing, backward cars. These are those been somewhat easy for them.
okay? Moving on then to mayor council comments, I just have a couple of things. It's getting that time of year where spring cleanup is happening. I see people out doing it. Just a reminder to all of us that we need to, now that the snow's gone and it's drying up, and we need to go out and see what we can do to clean up around our own property. And also I wanted to throw out, some people are elderly or have some disabilities and really can't, even if they want to, go out and do their own. So it'd be a good opportunity for people to help their neighbor and become more of a community and get to know your neighbor by helping them clean up their own property if they need some help and you can assist. Good time of year to get that done. Then the other thing is, tomorrow, I noticed looking at the calendar ahead of day, is National Appreciation Day for Teachers. And I didn't do a proclamation, but I sure want to thank all the teachers at our local schools and daycares for all the work they do and working with our students, and certainly recognize them. They also face some difficult times with budgets and other things going on. So I just wanted to recognize the teachers as well and the administrators. That's all I have. Council comments? Okay, if there are not, we'll move on to open forum. As per usual, speakers will be asked to step up to the microphone and state their name and address for the record and be given 3 minutes to address the council. Again, individuals can address any item that's on the agenda tonight or any other topics they want to bring up to council. Do we have anybody for open forum tonight? Okay.
Hi, my name is Carrie Corrigan. I live at 1820 West 4th Street here in Prairie. Can I say this? I don't know if anyone remembers me from the past couple of years, but I read what I'm gonna say, so. I just wanted to say that I would like to discuss the fireworks regulations. I'm asking the city council to set the meeting agendas to discuss allowing for Prairie residents to have the right to discharge fireworks on the property and for the council to vote again before this 4th of July. I have here a petition with 549 signatures of Prairie residents. So that would mean that 548 other Prairie residents also want the city council to change the regulations. I have some, I don't know what I do with the petition. Do I? Okay. I have some information that, I don't know, I need enough for the city council for the mayor. The first page is a copy of what our petition says. And so what it says is we, the people of the city of Perry, petition for Perry City Council for reconsideration of the allowance of the discharge of fireworks within the Perry city limits with proposal of the following suggestion. First is to allow maybe more times for fireworks to be discharged. We have the suggestion of like July 2nd, 3rd, 4th from just 7 at night to 10 at night. And that the fireworks must also be used and discharged on user's property or on property of someone who has permission for the use of the fireworks on their property. The second page I put in there is it's a copy of the fire regulations for the city of Ankeny. Looking through different city regulations, this one I thought was great because they put information in there about safety tips and about pets, what you should do with your pets. And so I put that in there. And then starting on page 4 and the rest of the pages, those are just information definitions about fireworks. I feel like if you're making decisions on things, it's good to have some information about it. And those are taken from the Iowa Code, and then some of the other pages are taken from the American Pyrotechnics Association. So what I want to say is that I understand that most of the residents you've heard from in the past years are the ones that very loudly and strongly complained about the fireworks. But as I've said to the council before, your decisions need to be based on what the majority of Perry residents want to do on their property. The majority of residents, those who didn't speak up, they didn't come to meetings, but when I discussed this with many of them, their responses were that they didn't think the council would take this right away from them. They didn't think they had to come to meetings. And I told them, I've come to meetings, I've talked about it. They just thought it was something they were gonna have every year. They were trusting that you would continue to give them this right. Also, those residents who were abiding by the rules for the first 5 years are the ones who were punished last year. Because those who broke the rules before, such as letting them off in the middle of the night, letting them off in the street, those people still let them off last year. The ones that you did here last year, those were those people, not the ones that continue to follow what you guys put in place, what regulations you had. The last thing. So the last thing I want to bring up is if this is discussed by the city council and you're strong on your opinions, you don't want to go with majority of residents, then I wanted you to consider a compromise. If you notice in the Ankeny's fireworks regulations on that first page, they give permission for first-class consumer fireworks and second-class consumer fireworks. If you go to page 6, which I have it numbered on the top, it gives the definition of those two classes. So it could be considered that if you don't want to let up all, that they could let off all fireworks, you could allow for novelties, which I know confusion last year, people were coming into the tent and they said they asked the city and the city's saying they can't do anything that says novelty. And I'm like, okay, novelty is what we could do before it was legal. And so there was confusion about that. And that's why I gave so many definitions. But if you'd consider like at least allowing novelties and second-class fireworks. And if you look under the description of the second-class fireworks, it would allow for like some of the spinners, a lot of the other kids novelties that aren't listed, and then like fountains, which don't. These are all ones that don't go clear up in the sky, but they're higher. You know, they shoot up and if they have it on their property, but they don't go clear into the sky. So that's small spiel.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else for open forum tonight? Okay. If nobody else for open forum, we'll move on to old business. First item under old business is approval of change order number 39982 for the Pierce Fire Apparatus. Change order 39982 with Reliant Fire Apparatus would be for $3,069 to update build specs on the ordered Pierce Saber top mount pumper that was approved through resolution 110722A. Certain components were identified after review of needing to be added to better support the use and operation of the pumper by the Perry Fire Department. Need a motion, please?
Make a motion, we approve change order 39982 for the Pierce Fire. I'll second that.
Discussion?
We do have Chief Hill and Assistant Chief Hicks on hand to explain this change order or answer any questions.
Anybody want an explanation?
What has changed since you ordered it?
Well, the 5 items that are on here. But the 5 change orders, back in January. Bruce Blum for Reliant and I sat down, we went through it. Getting down to nitty gritty. There's a front bumper compartment up here. that holds a pre-connect. We use those on a lot of automobile fires. It's spec to have a D-ring style opening device. We wear our big thick bulky gloves. It's not real convenient to get, you get your hand through that loop. So we switched that to go to that Southern Company chrome pop latch, which is what our current pumpers have now. Pumpers. Change order 2 was to add an additional hose bed divider back here. This will be one of, let's see, the 2014 also has an actual reconnect hose up here that we would use for fighting fire versus just laying those divider to the truck. So we wanted one more additional divider to keep those separated.
Makes sense.
Change order 3 there. Same thing, it's the kind of that convenience package on a pipe that we use for overhaul, not having that D-ring style bottom, just being more like what your root handle would only be. And convenience of wearing that thick bulky stuff. Change order 4 was to add an additional cap to the discharge side of the pumps. It allows us to either use a 2.5-inch hose or 1.5 inches. It's one cap that reduces both ways. Kind of speeds up the process. Getting things going. And then change order number 5 was for the compartment on the right-hand side. We carry extra SCBA bottles for our breathing air. The truck did not currently have specs to have a C-style shaped bracket for holding these bottles upright in the cabinet. Doing a little bit of investigative work. One bottle alone is $1,500 to buy it brand new. So we kind of felt like a $1,600 package was worth the cost of protecting 4 bottles from having to be replaced. So those are just kind of after you read the book that I have all the specs. We're just over what we start with.
Sounds like a good investment.
Any other questions?
What's the shelf life? 10 years, 20 years?
The one we've got now is 10 years, but 2015, 10 years. We're replacing trucks that were built in the 80s. A truck is probably never completely dead in the water. It's just NFPA, which is the governing body that oversees everything. Our strategy, everybody's taking all the safety features we have to have, helmet holders of the cab, the old trucks didn't have. It's just, I don't think there is a shelf life for the truck. It's just more as the features change, cabs get bigger, you haul more water. Just get out, I guess, I would say spend what you would in the past keep it in, we're looking about 20 years for a truck.
30 to 80. That's right. Good thing we're set for 80 years now.
Yeah, that makes your life easier next time you pull it out.
Yes.
I mean, when I first got on the department, we were bringing the cabinet, we rode in the back. That truck is still like service. Awesome.
How long do the tires last?
That's a question.
I just-
Till they get flat.
DOT actually probably has specs that they should be replaced in 10 years. Big trucks like that. Not the tire, much more out, it's just the age of the tires.
Age of it.
Where they dry rods.
God, I wouldn't speak more of that.
We focus on replacing garbage truck tires. Right, Josh?
Or we just get
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more discussion about this change order, approving it?
Nope.
If not, call the roll, please.
Walling.
Yes.
Mahler.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes,
Thank you. Next item, resolution approving a contract with Region 12 to provide administrative services for a community development block grant housing upper story conversion award. Contract 23-HSGU 004. The city council accepted the Iowa Economic Development Authority, IEDA, of a community development block grant, CDBG housing upper story conversion contract 23-HSCU 004 per resolution 04 17238 for a property located at 1306 Second Street and owned by the Nedgers Kearns Managers LLC for an award amount not to exceed $536,467. This action would approve the administrative services contract with Region 12 to serve as a grant administrator in the amount of $25,000 for grant administration of the CDBG Housing Upper Story Conversion Grant Award. The administrative services contract fee will be covered under the grant award. Need a motion to approve this?
I make a motion, we pass resolution approving a contract with Region 12 to provide administrative services for a community development block grant housing upper story conversion award contract 23-HSGU 004.
I'll second.
Discussion about this grant?
So this is very similar to the rest of the grant administration contracts that we do with Region 12 for our housing projects. So just kind of run of the mill. We'll be over the next month-ish, we'll have a few other documents, contracts, agreements that will be coming through related to this contract.
Okay. Any other discussion or questions about this contract with Region 12? If not, call the roll, please.
Mahler.
Yes.
Klein,
Yes,
Walling. Yes. Schott.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item, approval of pay application number 5 for the 2020 Downtown Street and Utility Improvement Project. Pay application number 5 in the amount of $321,294.19 to Crow River Construction for work completed between at the intersection of Third Street and Bateman, and installation progress north, Third and Fourth Street has been received. The pay application was signed by the engineer and is recommended for approval. Need a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve pay application number 5 for the 2020 Downtown Street and Utility Improvement Project.
I'll second.
Discussion?
They're making progress.
But
Mr. Aaron's, would you like to give an update?
Yes.
So there's been quite a bit of work done since the PAC went into the city for this council. They do have all the utilities up, both Third and Fourth. Fourth is halfway, just providing access in and out of the foundry as well as Weiss. So they're working closely with those business owners as well as residents, getting traffic in and out, providing temporary access with the rock roads. We're hoping here in about the next 2 weeks, within the next month, before the next council repayment, we'll see pavement go down. So I'll be Third to Fourth on Rawson, as well as start working up Third and Fourth. So a lot of good progress and deadline quickly approaching, but the rate they've been going, I'm pleased. So
They are really making good progress.
Yep. I will say we've been having decent weather as well. Hopefully we can keep that up and keep things moving smoothly. So.
any other questions or discussion about this pay application number 5? If not, call the roll, please.
Walling.
Yes.
Mahler.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Klein.
yes,
Thank you. Moving on to new business. Resolution authorizing grant applications for budgeted capital expenditures. Departments of the city of Perry regularly submit grant applications for to various granting organizations and foundations for matching funds for budgeted capital expenditures. The department seeking grant funds would provide the total grant matching of funding from their annual budgets. The submission of these grant opportunities would potentially add value to the city of Perry, its facilities, and to the residents served. The city administrator would be required to approve all applications prior to applying, and after approval, the city departments may participate in the grant opportunities, accepting grant monies offered and all other necessary requirements in any grant in which the total matching fund is a fiscal year 2024 budgeted capital improvement expenditure. All binding documents must be signed by the mayor and or the city administrator. Need a motion authorizing this?
I'll make a motion to approve resolutions authorizing grant applications for budgeted capital expenditures.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
So this is kind of a newer every year thing that we do, just with some grant cycles coming around and catching us a little more off guard sometimes. It's nice to be able to have just a blanket approval to go after grants to help supplement the funding that we have budgeted.
Any questions or further discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Klein,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Thank you. Next item, resolution approving the professional services agreement with Bolton and Mink for GIS web application developments. Staff has identified certain deficiencies and opportunities that exist within our current GIS programs. In an effort to increase the organization's efficiency and provide better, more transparent services, Bolton and Mink has been asked to develop web-based GIS program for city use. This project would update our utility maps, create a system for tracking and recording data for improvements, projects, and create new digital maps for our city park system and zoning functions. This resolution would approve the professional services agreement for such development in an amount not to exceed $21,830. Need a motion?
I make a motion, we pass a resolution approving the professional services agreement with Bolton and Mink for GIS web application development.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Discussion?
We have Public Works Director Webker here to answer any questions and give an overview of what this entails.
So currently, most of our GPS that we've used, we had a company called Midland GIS that basically came in and shot up all of our utilities. So now we know where all of our storm sewers are, sanitary sewers, and the water is. In that time, though, we've had, when we find things, they'll come up maybe once a year and do stuff. We've had Bolton and Mink do a lot of stuff, some zoning stuff, different things like that. So we're just, with them doing our projects and everything, they can load everything as we're going. So it's not Bolton and Mink designs it, then we have to send the data down to Missouri to get it, and then they have to come up and shoot it. They can just do it all. And it'll help myself, it'll help Daniel out, John with the parks. Another thing was into the cemetery that they've been working on that we want to really keep going into. Liz has like a really cool program going to where everything could be GIS'd out of the GPS and GIS system out at the cemetery. So you'd know every plot, which would save them a ton of time. So it's just, the other thing with this is we're looking at getting some handheld units to be able to do our own stuff. So like we could go out and GPS stop signs, all the signs in town. John wanted to do a bunch of park benches, different stuff like that. So it would just be something that would be more local and with people that we know that are kind of already doing it. So do you have anything, Daniel?
Would you be able to access this information when you're out in the field?
Yeah.
Okay,
And we can now, but this would be just kind of more built to what exactly we want. So the cool thing is like this one, it shows you where you are in terms of the map. So if you're looking for a manhole, it'll show you on there. So you can your time or whatever locate. So that'll be a good technology.
I think one of the big things, like Josh mentioned, is we'll have those handheld devices. So as say, water department is putting in new water main on the west side of town, or we're putting in new sewer, new sanitary, storm sewer, whatever we want to collect, we can actually collect with that. Then we can go back and locate everything. So I think it was within an inch, or I'll look at sub-inch is the engineering term for being able to put that GPS unit right on and mark out where utilities are. So it'll really help with our accuracy in a lot of situations. Once we're able to continue to collect that data. The other thing I'm excited about is it's a big step towards being able to have a better asset inventory and asset management system. Like Josh mentioned, being able to inventory all of our assets within parks. So maybe we know when something is missing. Or something needs replaced, things like that. So I think there's a lot of good to this. Also, mostly on the planning and zoning side, it will be public facing aspect to it, to where somebody can get on and have more of an interactive zoom in down to their parcel zoning map. Whereas right now it's just a PDF map on our website that you kind of have to go between Dallas County's Beacon and our PDF map. So that'll be a nice interactive mapping system for that. And that's what, I mean, we get a fair number of calls from realtors and parties just wondering what their zoning is. So
Just for clarification, this is something that we're outsourcing to a company in Missouri presently,
Yeah,
and is the price of this, is it's similar to what we.
so basically when we, back, whenever we did this 10 years ago or so, I want to say we paid like $80,000 for them to collect everything. But then every time they would come up to do something, it might have been $5,000 or whatever. So with this, and that was just for storm and sanitary. That had nothing to do with planning and zoning or parks or anything. So this is, we own the data. So they're basically saying, hey, give us our data, is how it works.
You guys work with both. All the stuff.
It does. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
and really how it was working is Public Works would call Bolton and Mink. Bolton and Mink would come collect the data. So we're paying them to collect it, and then we're paying them to send it to Midland, paying Midland to upload it. And then we
Right.
get it. So this way, either we can collect it or Bolton and Mink can collect it in the field.
That's my thought. I just wanted to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
More streamlined. So.
So if a property owner wants to look at their property, will they be able to access any of this stuff or not?
Some of the zoning stuff, I would say.
Yep.
The
But
sewer
not the
stuff
other-
will not.
It's not
I'd say.
utilities.
No, because then,
Yeah,
We still want,
Oh, they're removing their sewer line.
we
Yeah.
still want to make sure people are relying on calling Iowa one call and not just going off
Yeah.
our map. So.
Any other questions or discussion? Thank you. Okay, if not, call the roll, please.
Mahler,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein,
yes,
Okay, next item. Resolution setting a public hearing to declare a structure dangerous and order its demolition. Staff has identified a building structure in an advanced state of dilapidation located at 1726 Second Street and believes that the best course of action for this particular property is to demolish the structure. Pursuant to chapter 145.07 of the city code, the council must hold a public hearing and render a decision before staff can be authorized to pursue options for demolition. This resolution would set a public hearing for the May 15th, 2023 meeting at 6 p.m. in the second floor assembly room of the Towncraft Building, 1122 Willis Avenue, and would authorize the publication of such notice. Need a motion to set this resolution?
I'll make a motion that we pass a resolution setting a public hearing to declare a structure dangerous and order its demolition. Finally.
I'll second.
Daniel's just waiting to tell us all about it.
Yeah, so if you've driven by this haunted house at any point, you've probably noticed that it's doesn't really have any windows, its foundation is failing, it's been sitting there waiting to collapse or blow over into somebody else's yard for years, and it's time for it to go. We've gone through the process we need to pursuant to the International Property Maintenance Code for noticing. This particular individual was very difficult to locate, but there are provisions that accommodate for that. This action would just set the public hearing if we chose to move forward with the declaration of dangerous structure and order to demolish. There would be quite a few steps afterwards. There are, obviously going to be some bills. This is at a price point where we'd probably have to get some bids on, I think, extermination, probably some remediation. We don't know if there's lead or asbestos in there, for the actual demolition. In our capitals, there is some money put aside for this exact kind of thing, so it's covered. We're not taking ownership of the parcel, so we would be able to recollect that, by imposing liens on the property, so. Really, there's, we'd make our money back and we'd get rid of this, dilapidated home if that's, will of council, so.
I'm surprised the wind hasn't taken it down.
It's been vacant for years. 25 years at least.
Yeah, I don't have an exact number, but it's,
Yes.
The mail that came back on that property as undeliverable for, I don't know, the past probably 10 years. I don't know if anybody knows where, at one point, we were told that the owner was deceased, right? But we don't know that. I don't know. Yeah.
you can read my report. I tried to hunt him down, but really to no avail, so.
The only thing that lives there now is a family blocking by cats.
We noticed there's some, areas where we think animals have been sliding into some gaps, so
Oh, yeah.
we've seen the signs. Also note that the front and back door have been boarded up, and that was a city action, so it's. We think it's been a hidey hole for vagrants as well.
The neighbors are thrilled.
I imagine so.
Any other questions or discussion regarding this property?
I think this is the first of a few, obviously with Daniel's capital request. I think he has his eye on a few others to start this process with, so kind of figuring it out as he goes and documenting the process, right, Daniel?
That's right.
All right, sounds like a learning process. Any other discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Walling.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Mahler.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Okay, next item, resolution setting a public hearing for fiscal year 2023 budget amendment. The city may amend the process, or excuse me, the previous certified budget by completing a budget amendment form adopted by the city council after holding a public hearing and submitting the amendment to the state. This resolution would set the public hearing for the fiscal year 2023 budget amendment on May 15, 2023, beginning at 6 p.m. in the Town Craft Building located at 1122 Willis Avenue, Perry, Iowa, for council to hear oral or written comments. Need a motion to set this public hearing?
I make a motion, we pass a resolution setting a public hearing for fiscal year 2023 budget amendment.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I prepared a narrative regarding the fiscal year 2023 budget amendment, which details a lot of the items that are going to be, that need to be amended. I can talk about this more at the public hearing if you want to have a chance to read this. One thing that we want to make clear is a budget amendment does not affect the levy rate at all. This will not affect property taxes. Everything that's being amended would be either be offset by additional revenue or grant revenues or the fund balance in the various funds that are affected.
Okay. Well, everybody study that between now and the public hearing. Any further discussion at this time on setting the public hearing? If not, call the roll, please.
Mahler.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Walling.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item, resolution supporting the month of April as Community College Month and the DMACC Van Kirk Career Academy. Statewide, 15 community colleges representing all 99 counties enroll 116,979 credit students and 140,992 non-credit students, with 90.5% of community college graduates finding employment upon graduation. Community colleges work as the educational and economic catalyst in our communities and offer educational experiences as close to home for many students as there are. This includes high demand degrees, certificates, short-term training, business and industry courses and training, youth programs and more. For every dollar of public money invested in Iowa's community colleges, taxpayers receive $2.50 and have an average annual rate of return of 6.2% with a total annual economic impact of 5.5 billion of added income or 87.149 jobs directly attributed to Iowa's community colleges. DMACC is widely considered one of the largest, most affordable and highest quality community colleges in the entire Midwest regions, where students see a return of $6.30 in higher future earnings for every dollar they invest in their education, and an average annual rate of returns of 24.9%. This resolution would acknowledge that the month of April was Community College Month and would show support for DMACC Vancouver Career Academy in their efforts to provide access to affordable career exploration opportunities to the community and surrounding areas, as well as extend the city's appreciation to the DMACC board and leadership, staff, and residents. I don't know if we really need a vote to approve this, but we'll call for one, I guess. Need a motion?
I make a motion, we pass a resolution to support them, supporting the month of April as Community College Month and the DMACC Vancouver Career Academy.
I'll second.
Discussion?
We're a little late on this.
So this came up during the month of April with the director of the Vancouver Career Academy, Mr. Eddie Diaz. So kind of recognizing the past month, but also looking towards supporting everything that's been done here in Perry and hoping that that continues in the future.
It's certainly very important to Perry, and as indicated in this resolution, it's important for the whole state. You know, I don't think people oftentimes know or realize or stop to think about the impact that the community colleges have across the whole state, and that there's more students going to them than any other school in the state, including Iowa and Iowa State. Yeah. No, it's a big impact. Any other discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Mahler.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Walling.
Yes.
Schott.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Next item, resolution approving underground electric line easements. Interstate Power and Light Company, Alliant Energy, has submitted 5 underground electric line easement requests on city-owned properties. These easements would allow for Interstate Power and Light Company to bury and install service lines to improve their system and provide electric lines to forthcoming solar field. Each easement is listed below for individual council approval. We're going to read all these at once. Resolution for an area south of Brownfield off West 10th Street. Resolution for an area off the alley between 5th Street and Grove Street north of Highway 141. Resolution for an area on the west end of Southgate on the north side. Resolution for an area on the west side of the trail south of Highway 141. Resolution for an area near the wastewater treatment plant. Need a motion?
I'll make a motion to pass a resolution approving, we do all 5 underground electric line easements.
And you're doing that for all 5, right?
Yeah, we're gonna
Yes.
do it for as a package deal, one through 5. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll second all 5.
Again, we're gonna vote on those items listed 1 through 5 as a package. Anybody have any discussion? Questions? If not, call the roll, please.
Walling.
Yes.
Mahler.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Okay. Having no other business before us, we stand adjourned at 6:54 PM. Thank you, everybody.